So today we're going to go into episode 7. Let's talk taboos. And what do we mean by that? Well, what's taboo at a family gathering? Hey guys, let's not talk about religion. Let's not talk about money. And let's not talk about politics. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk about politics. And we're going to encourage each other to do that more routinely because politics are life. They are a part of what we experience every day. And it's really important for us to be able to have conversations about the things that matter to us. So, love to hear your take on these taboo topics, Joni.
Yeah, so as I've mentioned before, I've spent the past decade or more trying to get people to talk about one of those taboo subjects, that is religion. And in the spiritual geography workshops I would do, I would talk about knowing yourself and knowing when you're being triggered and knowing when to step back and just ask a open-ended question. But now and that's all still good, even if we're talking about politics. It's very important to know when you've had your limit and you need to walk away. Uh, but now I think that, and I used to think that religion was the most treacherous subject to talk about, but now it seems to be politics, especially since politics of a certain sort is intimately intertwined with religion. So it's like you get a double whammy here.
Right. It makes me think of the whole holy war. I mean, the reason we're speaking about these taboo topics right now is because of what happened this week. When you have a leader of a very powerful country saying he's going to annihilate another country, like this is where you can't keep your mouth shut anymore. Like silence does not serve us anymore. We really need to say this is not okay and that something needs to be done sooner rather than later. And the whole holy war thing, it's more like holy crap a war, people. Like what the heck is going on here? When's the last time a holy war turned out well for anybody?
Never. And
Never. And let's face it, when we think about religion, it's an invitation. It is not a force thing. It is not a, I will kill you unless you believe what I believe. It's more like, this is what's benefited me. Perhaps you could benefit from this as well. I mean, to convert someone to me, and you can probably speak to this more than I can, to me, it is a low key welcoming. It is not a, I'm going to twist your arm, break it
well,
behind your back until you say yes, or I'm going to kill you. Like, oh, there's so
but
much
that's
wrong with this.
but that's not conversion. That is this is the box you need to be in, and if you dare to speak against that box, then you're out. So it's not uh it doesn't feel like the goal is conversion. The goal appears to be control, and control in the name of religion, which brings up that sense of sacredness, which often completely lets reason go out the window. And I am not saying religion is bad. Believe me, this is I my work is spiritual geography. This is my bread and butter. This is what I love to talk about and think about. But the aspects of control and power, when you put those things together, control and power, and then say this is divinely appointed, it blows it up into something that is far more dangerous. And so in this moment, yeah, the taboo topics are both religion and politics, but it's also religion and politics. And because they're both there, you can kind of enter this conversation by speaking your truth from either side.
And I would even add that money is part of this because so
Mm.
much of what's going on is being driven by greed and corruption. And people are like, oh, we don't want to talk about that stuff. That stuff's dirty. And it's like, yeah, that's the whole point, that it's so dirty that it should be objectionable to all human beings who care about humanity. So it's kind of a perfect storm of these three topics that we're really taught not, most of us are taught not to talk about, are suddenly converging. And to bring in any one of them could be like, oh, why did you bring up the thing? But if you don't bring up the thing, again, this is sort of what I said last time, where we can't expect other people to step up. Like someone else will take care of this for us. It's sort of like what Congress has done, where they're like, oh, the judicial system, like that can be managed over there. We'll give it to a different branch of government. Well, if we don't speak up, who's going to do it? So this is really a call to lean into your values, lean into what's important to you, and be able to speak about those taboo topics, but perhaps in a way that's not the conventional, super triggering, I want to one up you. I want to prove to you that my view is better than your view and dominate you. Again, back to what Joni said, this is a lot about control. If we can get to the point where we say, you know what, this stuff matters to me, and I don't care what label you put on me, but I care about little girls in Iran not dying in a school. Like I care about people in the US getting fed and having SNAP benefits. These are not political preferences. These are caring about others. These are about how I want to be in the world. I don't want
Value.
to be that person that is so vile and
Well,
so self-centered.
yeah, and you're talking about values. And the way you said that was a good model because it's what you care about. And also, what I found with my spiritual geography work is it gets ugly when people say global things like all Christians believe or this. And, I can tell you that no two people believe the same thing about pretty much anything. Uh, when you get to a wide range of issues, when it's one teeny tiny little issue, they might. So how you talk about that matters, that it is my belief. This is what I think. This is what I've seen. And we talked last week specifically about story, the power of story. And I was telling Christy a couple days ago about a person I know who is an immigrant from a white English speaking country. And she has shared openly on social media about her experiences, how difficult it was. Because we often hear with immigration that people need to do it the right way, but they don't understand how difficult the right way is. So she is sharing her experiences. This is what I did. This is the hurdles I had to jump through. This is how much it cost. Things that people don't know. And by saying, this is my experience, she's not saying some global thing about what the immigration system should be or how it's horrible or whatever. She's saying, okay, I wish it wasn't so hard. This is what happened. And I am a white English speaking person. How much harder would it be if my pigmentation was different and I didn't speak the language fluently?
And that adds another layer to this, is that to become a citizen, you have to be educated in civics. Like you have to be able to prove that you know how the government works, that there's three branches and so on. I think I'm sure a lot of US citizens, we saw an article about this recently. Joni and I both read this article about low information voters. They often don't even know what the role of Congress is, that Congress should be putting the brakes on all these executive orders and so on. So if we're saying do immigration the right way, how about do education the right way in the US as well? Maybe you're not allowed to vote. I'm just sort of joking, but maybe you're not allowed to vote unless you have shown minimal proficiency in civics, so that when you're voting for someone for Congress, what their role is. So we know how to hold them accountable and say, this is what works. And this is how the system is set up. I was listening to Heather Cox Richardson yesterday with her twice weekly broadcast, and she said, it's not that we need new laws, it's that we need the laws we have to be enforced. Right? So it's not that it's all just a mess and we just need to start from scratch. No, we need to enforce what we have. But if people don't even know what the laws are, they don't know what the different amendments are, they don't know they have the right to speak or whatever, how are they going to know that they can stand up and say, this is my right? I can do this. I have the luxury to do these things based on these amendments. So it is a crazy time because we're saying the people that are getting educated in order to come here and join this country are not doing it the right way. And then we have people in this country that never had that. I mean, I in school had, classes on government, how our US government worked. I knew what the three branches were and so on.
Right. Yeah. I'm a little bit too old to have been fully immersed in the, oh golly, what do they call it? The Saturday morning things that
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah. So I remember some of it,
I do
but
too. I remember this is how a bill becomes a law. I remember this
yeah,
dancing bill.
I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Yeah.
Right. All right.
And so that kind of knowledge is important. That article that Christy mentioned, it was shocking to me because what the research, the polling that they did showed was some of the people who voted in 2024, they voted, they didn't know who was in charge of Congress. It's like a basic understanding of our current situation. And that was shocking. And that's another part of this is that we often assume that people have our level of knowledge and understanding. And we shouldn't assume that because not talk down to someone, certainly not well, if it's mansplain, then it's politics explain someone, but to be open to the possibility that the information that you are sharing is new to that person, and be open to answer questions because they don't know, and not view that as some sort of failing in not understanding how the government works, because it's the way we've gotten to where we are. This is where we are now. We can't go back and fix the education system and put civics back
We don't
into.
have that kind of time at this point.
It's not going to happen. We need to move forward from here.
Right. And I was thinking about this earlier, this idea of conveying information is great, but shaming just means it's not going to go down. People are going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to I don't even I'm not even interested. I'm not open. I'm not receiving this." So we had talked about this before, like you have to know your audience for one thing. You have to know if people are receptive to what you want to tell them and what you want to share, and you're going to use your people skills to, as you go along, go, maybe I won't keep pushing this. I'm going to perhaps let this go for now or whatever. But, being able to say, this is who I am and this is what matters to me is very, very important. And I'm just going to do a little confessing here. I knew about the three branches of government, but there was a time in Trump 1.0 that I actually went on news fasts that were not for like a day or a weekend or a week. I would go months without consuming any news whatsoever. So I totally get when it feels like, oh my God, it's a tsunami of disastrous crap coming at me that I cannot even manage to deal with. I can see you being underinformed. I was like, if they do those trivia quizzes of like, what's happened in the last 2 months, I'd be like, I figured things would come to me if I really needed to know them. But now I feel like that was kind of a cop out. Yes, it was what my nervous system could handle at the time. But now I realize that I need to do other things to take breaks, move in, move out, find things that are not triggering, that still inform me, that there are ways that this can be digestible instead of just slamming your nervous system to the point where, oh, I can't function and I can't do anything. I'm out. I'm done. There, at a protest recently, someone had a sign up So I try to go to the weekly protest whenever I can. And this person had to sign up. We are so screwed. Like, how is that going to help us? I mean, yes, most of us feel who are paying attention and who are concerned are feeling that. But, some of that. But if that's the message you're sending, then why would people do anything? Like, if
Right.
you're already screwed, you might as well, eat bonbons and ice cream and party because the end is nigh. It's coming soon. Instead, where are the places where we can have an impact? Where can we make a difference? Where can we say something, do something, show something to someone, contribute in a way that feels uplifting instead of constricting? And invite those people who might be like, oh my word, I can't even, to come back, because those people probably care a lot, maybe
Yeah.
too much. And that's why it's like, oh my God, they're doing all and this and this and this. So that the wanting to overwhelm us is working
Yeah.
with some percentage of the population. That they're just like, that's just too much for my nervous system and I'm done.
And that overwhelm is real, and finding ways to manage that is important. But we called this podcast Yes and for Democracy. And our intention is to be able to pull other people in, to get them fired up and feel that they can move forward and do something that helps. And hope is a piece of this. Hope that whatever we do can change the trajectory of the awfulness that we're in right now. But also speaking where Christy started, speaking your values. That some people may be rethinking their vote or their former stances because their values have been decimated, whether it was the attack on the girls' school, whether it was just going to war to begin with, whether it's even if it's the prices that is making it harder for them to live and to feed their family. It doesn't really matter what their entry point is. It's like they are now someone that we can try to pull in to this activism, that it's not just feeling bad about what's going on, feeling hopeless and feeling that despair that we are screwed, but it's like, how can we move forward? How can we change the direction of the way this government is going? And we want to change that trajectory.
Right. And it's so funny when you said activism, because my brain said, let's move from reactivism to activism. Like, so it's a response now instead of a reaction. So we can respond in a mindful, heartful way to what comes our way and then contribute in a way that's helpful, and certainly helpful for us, but also helpful for the whole situation in general. And I was thinking about hope, but also faith. I think we have to have faith that things can get better. Things can shift, things can change, things can evolve. We can move towards the aspirational nature of this democracy as it was founded by the flawed individuals that did it. George Washington had slaves, for heaven's sakes. So we're trying to get to a place that we haven't been before. And it's going through the mountain passes and under the rivers and whatever, trying to get to something that we can hold as a vision for what we really would love to see. And we talk about love here all the time. Love is such a powerful moving force versus hate versus shame. Those are more constricting. They plug us up basically. We want to get in the flow of like, oh, and then there's this and this. Like I love to share Jess Craven, for example, once a week she shares a bunch of good news. I love to share the good news. It may be legal news, it may be environmental news, whatever. But it's like, look, people, here's some things to focus on where you're not going to be triggered. And then let that feed your faith of like, yeah, good things do happen. Good things can happen. We're not all doomed. It's not, is it really dire right now? Absolutely. I mean, we would not be having these conversations if it wasn't dire. But faith, hope, love. I mean, three of the greatest things that can change humanity.
Right. And the greatest of these is love. And we talk about what we want to see on the other side of this. And I believe there is another side of this. And it is the sense that every person has a voice, every person has the ability to have a life where they can be the fullest that they want, that their skills uh, and talents are used. Because when everyone has the opportunity to grow and blossom, that's when we get the discoveries. That's when science leaps forward. That's when humanity leaps forward, because we find new ways to live together. We find new ways to create this future that lets every voice be heard, that lets every person be valued. And that is one of my impetuses here, that let us help create that world where everyone matters.
Which is exactly my aspiration as well. Like this is our hope and our wish and our plan for humanity going forward. To be in this new place where we can see things more clearly, more with our hearts and less with the biases that have been passed down, the cultural conditioning, the governmental fake news that are, it's a new world that we're building here. And you know, Joanne Freeman talks about how people didn't know in the revolution how it was going to turn out. They were just like, all right, I'm going to do the thing that feels the right thing for me to do. And we'll see. Kind of rolling the die. Let's rolling the dice. Let's just see if we can do this. And that's kind of what I feel like we're doing here. Although I see the other side. I see that it's really going to come to be we're going to be in a better place, but it's going to be painful getting there. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. And the whole silence is compliance thing is sort of coming to mind. If we don't talk about these taboo subjects and we keep quiet, I kind of was like, well, what do you mean? How's that compliance? Well, because they want you to be quiet. They don't want you to speak up. They don't want you to vote. They don't want you to do the economic things. They want you to just kowtow and follow the party line and be the little, I don't know, automatons that they have programmed to do their bidding. But every time we go, no, 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 sorry, no, that's not gonna, that doesn't work for me. No, that doesn't work for us. Collectively, we're giving you the big no. Then it gets harder for them to not hear it,
Well,
and for everyone else to hear it. I mean, we're all hearing each other going,
and that's kind of the beauty of the United States, is that rugged individualism, which hurts in some ways, is very beautiful here, because we don't like being told what to do. And when that happens, sometimes we come out fighting, and that fighting is what we need right now. I had a I had a strange thought this morning that with the SAVE Act in Congress, it's
the
if
Voter Elimination Act, you mean?
yeah, the Voter Elimination Act, that if the congressional Republicans don't want to stand up because it's too painful for them, just get out of the freaking way. Don't pass that. Let the voters truly have their voice and decide, because we are coming out swinging. So just get out of the way.
Well, and sadly, they're getting out of the way, not with respect to the Voter Elimination Act, but with respect to, I'm just not going to run again. So I'm going to just not say any. I mean, I'm glad they're doing that because that means there's more seats available, probably for Democrats. But instead of speaking up and saying where their values are, which we're starting to wonder if they have any, they're just like, la la la, I'm gonna just bow out. I'm gonna vote for all these horrible things, and then I'm just gonna bow out. Our MAGA rep, I ran into an ad for him on YouTube yesterday. Please thank him for all the tax benefits he's given to voters. Oh my, what? I mean, the tax benefits are for billionaires, people. I reported it to YouTube and said it was in this false advertising, misleading, and gave details. Yeah, like, come on, people. If this is not a place where you want to speak up and to have a voice, then what are you doing there? You don't belong there. I mean, I'm glad they're leaving, but
Well, so that is the exact opposite of what we are advocating for here, is just going along and not saying what they really care about, because I'm sure that at least some of them care deeply about some of the things that they are painfully silent about and compliant about. So, bad example, good example. You want to be able
good example.
you want to be able say uh, to say what really matters to you. Use stories whenever possible. Know when you're being triggered, and when you're being triggered, stop talking. That's the first rule, is don't keep talking, because you'll probably say things that not in the best way possible. And I'm sure there's a couple more things here that are, I said stories, right? Yeah, use stories. Say what you care
Well, and
about,
look for your openings. I mean, it's
right?
not always appropriate to be like, "Oh, I I see you. Let's talk. I gotta talk to you about politics." Like, wait a minute. Don't you want to say hello and how's it going and make some small talk? Like, I can just imagine going to a family gathering and as soon as you hit the door, you're like, "We gotta talk about this." People will be like, "Oh, why do we invite her? I don't even care if she's related to us. Please don't invite her in." But instead, like, oh, this came up kind of naturally in conversation. I had a haircut, not thrilled with it, long story. But I had a haircut a couple days ago, and I'm pretty sure the woman is not democratically leaning. And I mentioned something about gas prices, and it wasn't in any way to like bring up politics, but it was like, oh, here's a little something that gee, I'm not loving these gas prices. So, I did not have a full-blown conversation with her. But if everyone comes in there and goes, not loving the gas prices, who knows? It might be like, huh, what is going on with those gas prices? Because I think she's probably a low information voter based on what I know about her. And so she's not going to know why suddenly there's this big spike unless her people are talking to her. And I hope she has quite a few blue leaning folks that come in because you chit chat with your hairstylist.
Well, and that's the planting seeds. Sometimes all you can do is plant a seed and trust that it will grow if it's supposed to. It will grow if it's in the right soil. And it's hard because we want people, yes, and we want to bring them in, but we can't. All you can do is give enough information that lets you feel like you're moving forward without alienating the other person, and then kind of trust that they're hearing what they need to hear. People change their mind over a long period. It's not like, oh, that was the most cogent argument I've ever heard, so I'm going to completely go in the other direction. That just doesn't happen, because it's the emotions change first. And if they feel heard and valued by you, then you're more likely to make a point that sticks, that the seed gets planted in fertile soil. But if you are in any way demeaning to them, you're throwing a seed at the rock, and it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, water that rock all you like. Nothing's gonna happen. So I would just invite us all. This is sort of a mental, emotional exercise to lean into the idea, lean into the question of why those three topics are so taboo
Mm,
and consider, is that serving us? Is that helpful for us? Is that something that could be updated and revised so that we can be more of who we are? If I can have a conversation and say, that's really interesting to whomever, like you're Jewish and I'd like to learn more about Passover. And I can have an open-hearted conversation with someone rather than like, I have this belief and I don't know why you don't have it. And, if again, this is sort of, Joni has said this before, asking questions. Tell me about what you believe. Tell me how that's meaningful for you. Or particularly like if someone converted, like tell me what that process was like for you. And then you connect with them with their story. And first of all, you see them as human. And second of all, you get a sense of what matters to them. So I think all three of these topics are taboo. I mean, they're for maybe the right reasons originally, but now it's become, how can we be more superficial?
mhm.
How can we not go into the things that really, really matter to us? And we're in a moment where what matters to us is so important that it cannot be overlooked. It cannot be pushed to the side. And it cannot be, oh, that mattered to me and I didn't say anything and now look where we are. This is the
Yeah,
time to speak up for what matters to you.
no regrets. Try to live your life with no regrets. Uh, and sometimes that is pushing through discomfort.
Oftentimes,
Yeah.
especially through
More
discomfort.
times than I'd want, it's pushing through discomfort, but our values guide us. And when I get to the end of my life, I do want to feel like I did what I could to make this world a better place. And now is a moment where I think it's possible to have a bigger impact because there's so much that's wrong.
Right. And we came here with a mission. I believe we incarnated for reasons that we don't understand completely. It's somewhat mysterious, but we're in this moment, and what an opportunity. Crisis and opportunity, the same character, I believe, in the Chinese alphabet. This is a crisis, but it's also an opportunity. And I hope that all of our listeners, all three of you, will embrace this opportunity to make a difference in the world. Thank you so much for being here with us
And let's turn hope into action together.
together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.